Okay, here we are again. Finally, after a couple week delay, we've got the organic mechanic, and on the other end of the spectrum, we've got Harley Smith, the hydro weight champion of the world. And man, it's good to see you. I have been on the road, extremely busy. I just have a lot of little updates and things that I've seen and people that I talked to, and just kind of give you a recap of where we've been, what we've done, and what we have seen. Very excited to be with you this morning.
Yeah, it's good to be back. As always, my favorite time of the week is having the pet podcast with the organic mechanic and looking at
All right.
plant science from different points of view.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. Let me just let you know what happened. So, uh, boy, we have customers all over in and especially the living water customers. This is our first real agricultural season doing living water on a large scale. So,
Mhm.
me and my wife, we had a plan to hop in the car and do a big road trip and try to hit as many of these customers that we could and tried to time it during their harvest schedule. And so we crammed a lot of stuff into a couple weeks, but we left the Kelp4less facility in Idaho and we drove through half the state of Idaho, came across a couple of our customers. We were able to, take a look at their harvest. They were doing potatoes. And so that was really fun and informative and got to talk with them and get their insights and takes on their first, year of using living water. And then from Idaho, we drove across the state of Nevada. We have some Nevada customers that use the living water system. I think 400 acres through Nevada. So we got to stop in and visit with them and just go over how their system worked for them, some of the things they seen, and so on and so forth. Then after Nevada, we hopped in on the road again, went to Central Valley, California, and boy, there's a lot going on in Central Valley, California. We got a lot of really neat trials, living water trials going on there. We've got some really, really good customers that are very excited about what they're seeing and what they experience with the living water system. So we got some data from there, hopped back on the road, drove through the state of Arizona. We have a couple of sites in Arizona that are using living water. Spent some time there, then drove across the entire state of New Mexico. And again, we have, 4 or 5, really good customers in New Mexico using the living water system. So we got to experience that. And then boom, we landed in Texas. That's probably where the majority of our trials and customer acreage right now, California and Texas. And we actually got to spend about 5 days in Texas. And we've seen some really neat things, really neat things. But one thing that's consistent, Harley, with our customers that were using the living water is the one statement that everybody would say, because I would personally ask them, I said, has your experience using living water, did you witness, see, or find any reason to increase your acreage for next season? Every customer said absolutely. And the one common theme is my fields that had the living water system had so much more stress tolerance in the heat of the summer. And that's very interesting because that is something you can visually see. And that is something you can visually experience, especially if you're doing side by sides. And we know why that is. It's because you're inoculating your plant every time you irrigate. The biology is going out there every time you irrigate. The plant's more protected in the root zone. You have all those factors, the biodiversity, excrements, and the metabolites and things like that going around the root zone that can really help keep a plant cool in the stress. Um, how do you feel about that? I was very surprised that was the number one thing everybody said.
Hmm. Oh yeah, that's a big benefit of plant growth promoting rhizobacteria is how they help protect against stress. As far as the biostimulants, some of them the microorganisms make. They're making by digesting organic matter and releasing. They're producing amino acids, right? They're not
Oh
producing
yeah.
kelp, but they're producing humic and fulvic acids, especially fulvic, because they produce the fulvic acid first and then the humic acid second as it over time. And that has an effect on stimulating the plant's production of superoxide dismutase, which protects the plants against stress. So that's one of the big benefits of microbes in general is if they can activate the immune system, the systemic induced response, the
Hmm.
SIR first, then it primes the plant. So if they're under any kind of attack, the plant's own immune system responds more quickly. And if the immune system responds quickly, then it's going to recover faster. Recovers faster, it's going to stay green longer and recover sooner before the harmful effects start breaking down the cell walls. So yeah, and then there's also with the microbes the other side of SIR priming, the SAR. So if the plant is under attack, the plants are producing have a reserve of secondary metabolites that to produce phytoalexins, which again is part of the immune system. So one SIR microbes, they are proactive. The SAR effects is after the attack. You put the two together, they're going to be more stress tolerant throughout. And also if they're stress tolerant, the antioxidants that are being produced are going to protect the cell walls. They're going to protect the chloroplast, so it's going to stay
Oh,
green. It's
yes.
going to protect the mitochondrial membranes. That's where the metabolism happens. When the plants are under the stress, they shut down the growth. If they're protected against stress, they're going to they're going to slow down their momentum to conserve energy, but they'll recover faster.
Absolutely. And all those things are an advantage to, you know, in agriculture, the number one thing is the environment. That's the number one risk that we take. The frost, the heat, too much rain, the drought. You're always there's always complications in the environment. So we need to do things that give us an advantage to make it through those stress times for the plants. And I always say, number one, it's let's get our nutrients balanced in the field. Let's take a look at the nutrients we're using. I don't want to just see a bunch of soluble nutrients thrown on the field because, that's just not the way to go. Let's take a look at the inputs we're using to not leach, to not evaporate, and make them more available over time. I don't want all water soluble nutrients applied at once. Let's take a look at the nutrients that we're using. And so what we found is our customers that are having a really good nutrient profile in their soil, the living water really helped their nutrient management throughout the growing season. There wasn't you know, we call it a knee-jerk reaction to, oh my goodness, I'm low on manganese. I did the SAP test and oh, I need manganese right now. And, our levels, stayed pretty much consistent as far as the nutrient availability during the growing season. So that was another added benefit that having that extra biology every time you irrigate for $5 an acre, pump as much as you want for $5 an acre, it really assisted in nutrient management. And so we just learned a ton of information talking with our customers and seeing a lot of different soils, different structures, different nutrient bases, and things like that. And I'll tell you what, I I truly believe that the living water system gives you an advantage. It gives you an advantage if your nutrients are in place, your plants will be healthier, and just it's another advantage to farming, to growing. And really excited for this winter to do meetings and more customers on board. And keep the living water thing going. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you on that. I'm excited too because I've believed for a while that the plant growth promoting rhizobacteria, mycorrhizal fungi too, but that really is the new frontier. And we're just barely understanding how important the microbiology in the root zone is, because that is the foundation of everything. The microbes are
Yeah.
here way before us, and they're going to be here way after us. And the interaction is where all the action is. I mean, there's there's like a biofilm that the microbes make. There's an exudates from the roots themselves. All the nutrients that you're talking about, they don't go into the root. They go through that film. They go pass through the microbes and pass through the exudates before they even get in the roots. So it's not, the answer isn't just adding more and more fertilizer or even balancing. Well, that's important, obviously, but
Mhm.
it's being able to get that the combination, the where the microbes and the plants meet. That's where the action is. And if the more we understand about that, the more um, environmentally friendly ways that we're going to be able to grow plants in the future, the more yield, the more nutrient density, better quality in our food, which is good for human beings too. It all works together. Yeah. And again, with climate's changing, and climate is changing more rapidly than ever. We know that. There's more extremes, but it still changes. There's going to,
Yes.
you know, over the millennium, it's going to get hotter. We're going to have another ice age, but life goes on. And if we can balance it, then we won't suffer as much, and we'll have time to make the changes that we need.
Exactly. Exactly. And improving our soil health will make a difference as well, to overcome some of these challenges we have. And one very unique fact, I heard this from about three of our customers, not everybody, but three of our customers, the the addition of earthworms that they're finding in their soil,
Mm, mm,
the increased amount of earthworms in our soil. And I was very quick to point out, okay, we're going in the right direction. We're absolutely going in the right directions. I say the earthworms are the first thing to leave, and they're the last things that come back from a healthy soil. I've seen that quite a few times in my life, and so very promising. And you don't hear that or see that often. And so
mm,
a farmer that has worked his ground, he knows his farm very well, to show you the worms coming back into his field in one season. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Very excited about that. And it goes back to exactly what you're saying, exactly what you're saying. All the exudates and the films and the metabolites and the exudates and this and that and the other. I mean, it's all part of this complex, biology machine down there. And to visually see that getting better, in front of your eyes, it's so exciting.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's good. The earthworm population going up, that's a good sign.
yeah.
We need we we need that for the future with all the benefits of the earthworms. I mean,
Hmm.
besides just eating up organic matter and the worm castings and making folic acid, they make it right there in the root zone. So they're chelating, they're making nutrients available as it passes through their system. They're
Yeah.
condensing the microbes. They're literally, the
Oh,
earthworms
good idea.
are condensing the bacteria and the fungi as in their gizzards as it's passing through their body, and on the other side, it's more available.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a complete system. We do everything we can to mess it up, and but
We need we need our bees flying around to pollinate, and we need our earthworms and microbiology on the other end. We put those two together with the climate, and we will win the
that's
next
right. That's right.
generations.
That's right. Yeah. So moving forward into going into some of the next growing season with some of our customers, I'm going to really work close with them on their um, on their soil tests and their nutrient profile in their soil because I see a common theme going around here. You know, we do a soil test. We always try to add what's short. We always try to add what's missing. And it took me a long time to learn this is I need to focus on our excesses as much as we focus on our deficiencies because some of those excess nutrients are out of control and it'll affect a lot of other nutrients in the soil. So I'm really going to try to help dial that in for some of our customers, kind of do some things to combat the excesses and at the same time, bring some of the things that are short up, and going to try to do that without a lot of salt, fertilizer. So it'll be a challenge, but I think that's going to help the overall, biodiversity of the soil and the plant long term. So I'm excited to dive into that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, I'm with you there. We tend, as human beings, or most of the growers that I know, if they have a problem, the first thing is, what should I add? What should I add to solve the problem? And a lot of times it's literally taking away, cutting back on some of the things you're overdoing, and to solve the problem. I mean, I can tell you story after story. People call me up, oh, my plants are dying. Please come in. And they'll pay me money to travel to their place and to go in and look at the crop. And first thing I do is I check the EC and they go, wow, it's off the scale. What are you doing? Well, we're adding this. And well, show me what you're adding. And they'll take me to their room. Oh, we got this, and this we're adding. And I said, well, you know what? When you add this up, you're adding 3 times the potassium that you need. 3 times, maybe even more, 5 times what you need. What you should do is, okay, stop using this. Stop using this product. Stop using that one. He goes, well, we paid good money for those products. I go, yeah, but look at your crops. Take this, stop over fertilizing, stop using too much, getting things so far out of balance, and then call me back in a few weeks even, and see if you see an improvement. If it's getting worse or you don't see an improvement, I'll help you take care of it. But this is the main thing. You need to get your EC so it's not too salty, your pH right, your balance better, and the plants will do the rest. The plants will do the rest.
Absolutely. 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 Have you ever encountered situations where the magnesium is through the roof? Excess
Uh,
magnesium?
well, yeah, I have seen too much magnesium, but that's usually it's only temporary in my experience, personal
Hmm.
experience. There's some times where I was experimenting with biostimulants and with the amino acids to get the calcium uptake, and I was focusing so much on calcium, I would get high levels of calcium in the plant, and then temporarily it would show up as a magnesium deficiency. Or not really even deficient, I'd just say lower than the control. Let's put it that way. And then I said, "Ooh, okay." But what would happen is, with the calcium, the plants are building new cell walls, and then once that calcium gets locked up in the cell, the magnesium is mobile, and then it had its chance to go in and fill up those cells with chlorophyll. So it kind of fixes itself. But yeah, you can do it. The other one is if you overdo it with potassium. I've seen it many times where a potassium toxicity shows up as a magnesium deficiency. So
Oh,
it's for the balance, either calcium, potassium, and magnesium are the three major positive ions, the cations, and they do tend to balance each other out. But they kind of fix each other over time too. But if you keep pouring it on, then the plants don't have time to fix themselves. And I've seen it. I've seen potassium deficiencies from too much calcium toward the end. If it was very excessive in the plant tissue. Um, so in that case, I say, oh, you know what? Maybe at this point in the plant's growth, we should cut back on the amino acids. Let's cut them in half. Let's start tapering off because the plant's taking up and storing more than it needs at that point. So you learn. you learn over time by measuring your nutrient load and by measuring your leaf tissue um, accumulations.
Yep, we need to keep dialing it in. That's what we got to do.
Keep,
We gotta keep it dialed in. It's an endless battle, but
yeah,
with the tools that we have now and the information we have now, I really think that we can keep it dialed in. That's my goal. That's my goal. And I got a ton of great video too to send you. I'll send it to you on the WhatsApp that you can check out.
yeah.
Got some great shots from around the West. Love to share with
Yeah,
you.
I'm curious in how your peanut growers did. Did they see are they seeing benefits too because of the stress tolerance, or how is the peanut trials?
Okay, so we don't have all the information in as far as yield. Of course, that's the number one factor that pays the bill. But what we found, the main thing in the peanuts is it really helped the plant hold on to the peanuts with what they call digger loss. When they go flip the peanuts and then harvest them, they need the peanuts to hang on to the stolen and don't fall out of the reach of the equipment. And that's probably the number one thing we heard on the peanuts is my digger loss was so much less, even with the larger peanuts. This one customer had a really large, all the peanuts were, big, bulky. It's a big variety. And he was very surprised at how well they hung onto the plant at harvest. So he was able to harvest more and not experience digger loss. That's one thing one sentiment that we heard over and over and over. We still have some things to get dialed in and take it to the next level, but stress tolerance again and a healthier plant. It just gives us more of an advantage. So that was about the number one thing we heard on the peanuts. We had a great time, and I'll send you some video kind of showing what I'm talking about
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. We're learning new things.
there.
And remember, this was only your first full year. I mean, you had a couple of trials, right? But this is your
Hmm.
first full year with the living water, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Our first season. Yep, our first growing season.
Full
Yep,
growing
we got
season.
some, yeah, really good stuff coming in from California, and every farm's different. You can't just blanket. It's hard to do a blanket statement. This
Yeah,
does this and this does that. Every farm's different. Every soil's different. We just need to keep doing those things that give us an advantage. We need an advantage, and we need to get things dialed in to overcome the things we can't control.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
we're doing.
Okay. And with the field agriculture, it's not like me in my lab in the lab.
Hmm.
I can control my conditions completely, and then just have one variable only. Okay, let's see what happens. Where out in the field, there's variables all over. But if you have healthy soil, it balances everything out because plants have been on this planet for so long that they've seen it all, and they're still here. You know, so yeah, if we can keep a good healthy soil, keep to the best of our ability, keep things in balance, let the plant deal with the different variables of hot and cold and wet and dry, and have an overall positive response, or
Absolutely.
even less of a negative response is a positive response.
Absolutely, absolutely. In our travels, we had one customer that told us he usually does 3 fungicide applications on his field every year. He only did one fungicide application this year, and he attributes a lot of that to his soil health. Um, and I explained to him, if we continue down this road, that I'm not saying living water is a fungicide. I'm just saying, we're getting healthier soils, healthier plants, but that the fungicide applications are expensive. And if we can make it through a
Mm,
growing season, just doing one less fungicide application, I mean, it pays for a lot of this biological stuff that we use. I mean, it's just money in the bank. The return on investment, it's there. And I'm not going to say that'll happen with everybody, but we're seeing signs and we know why. And it's just something to think about. That's a huge cost savings.
hmm
Very
Okay,
exciting.
yeah. And I love these talks with you because you're definitely talking from the point of view of the farmer. You know, I
Mm,
like that because it all matters. You got to have your cost benefit. You know, what's the risk? What's the cost? If you could spend 10 times as much and get 1/4 of a point increase, and it's not worth it. You know,
exactly.
but so we
Exactly.
really need to look at the at all of the different factors together. But saving one input,
Hmm.
cutting one,
Yeah, huge
if we
deal.
could cut the fertilizer costs in half, we'd have the same results. The farmer's still ahead.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm always for the farmer, for the grower. I mean, that's what we do here. We're trying to help where we can. We can't do everything. We don't have all the answers, but we just share our experiences and what we've learned and what we've seen. And that's what I want. I want to help the farmer, help the grower, and get us some good food.
Okay. Well, I think we're
All
about
right.
out of time. It was really good talk. Thanks for catching me up on your trip, your field trip. I know you seem really excited about what you're seeing so far. That's good. You come back pumped up for the next year,
Mhm.
ready to make a more of a splash in the industry.
Yes.
And you know, that's all positive. I could see it though. I mean, I could have predicted that just because I've been studying up on the biology for a while now. But
Well, we've talked a lot
yeah,
about this too,
yeah.
off
But
camera.
actually seeing it in the real world and not just from uh, from laboratory experiments or from university trials or from microbiology labs. We're actually seeing it in the real world and learning new things because that's what we're going to learn by applying what we've learned and leading to new questions and unexpected results, positive or negative. That's where we learn the most. And
That's
you're
right.
not going to learn that out of a book or in a lab. You're going to learn that in the field, in the real world. And thank you so much for what you're doing. And um, I'm glad that your trip was so successful and
Oh,
encouraging.
good. Yeah, thank you. I'll send you some of these videos, and then I'll phone you up here later in the week too to discuss some other things that
Okay.
we got
Oh, and
going.
thank you again for the care package you sent. I
Oh, good.
have some inputs that I've been needing, and I've been seeing some improvements already. So thanks again. And
All right.
I guess that's it. I'll see you next time.
Okay. Thank you, Harley.
Okay, bye.
See ya.